call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Let's go. I'm about to go off like a weapon. Fuel to the top, gotta feel the vengeance. In my thoughts,
Welcome back, everybody. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, comment down below. Today we're just going to make a quick video on the offensive line. I think we've made a couple of additions on the offensive line, and let me know what you think. Comment down below, hit that like. Did we solve our problem with the type of players that we got in the offseason so far? Did we solve our offensive lineman problem? And I'm going to go into this right now. So the couple of offensive linemen that we signed, we brought everybody back, and we also now have gotten Ogbuye and we have gotten Isaiah Wynn, and those are both tackles. What I can tell you is that the difference of what we had last year, and this is going to be the first thing that we talk about, is that the offensive linemen that we had last year, we did not have much depth at the position. We had a bunch of undrafted players and later round players that they did pretty well, but when you have that type of situation, I think the first thing that we can look at from this offseason is that we have now gotten very much better at our depth at offensive line. Offensive line now, having whether Austin Jackson does good or not, or whether Isaiah Wynn does good or not, doesn't matter, because one of those guys is going to be a backup. And when you have someone that is first rounders as backups, you have much more depth behind what you are doing. Whereas before, you have, well, right now what we can kind of consider is that Teron Armstead probably will get injured again, and we'll see what happens with Austin Jackson. I still believe that Austin Jackson is going to show up this year, but we'll see where he goes. We'll see if he stays at right tackle. But now that you have these two former first round picks as your depth at offensive line, now you have a little bit more room to work with, where you have a multitude of offensive linemen now, and we're probably not even done. June 1st is when we get a significant cap increase because the Byron Jones thing takes effect. We're not even done yet getting offensive linemen, and I think what we're trying to do is we're trying to fill out depth. We'll see if anybody releases an offensive lineman. That's going to be another key thing, because if somebody releases an offensive lineman, then we'll probably jump on top of that, because as we can see right now, they're not 100% okay with the people that they have on the offensive line. Clearly, they went out and got two players. Isaiah Wynn was actually, in a previous video that I had, is probably the best one that I thought was available, or one of the best ones, because of his age and what he could be, because he was okay when he got into the league. So getting these players clearly shows that Mike McDaniel and Chris Grier are not done on their offensive line. They're still working on it. And what we need to consider is that now you have depth pieces where you kind of have the same similar players that you have last year, but you have two upgraded pieces that can be behind our starters, that can allow us to have competition. You can allow us to maneuver people around. I mean, these guys are going to give you much more of a push at the offensive line. So when we talk about Isaiah Wynn, Isaiah Wynn is a very interesting thing, because like I said, the first 2 years that he came in, and probably over the time, I mean, the Patriots probably thought that he was going to be the guy, and he didn't turn out to be what they thought he was going to be. But with Isaiah Wynn, you have a guy that you can possibly turn into a starter, and he's still young. So, you get a guy that's probably in his best spot possible, where he's 27, and if you push him in the right direction and you get him to fix a couple of things that he needs to fix, you could have a very, very good starter on this team for a pretty decent amount of time and a significantly less amount of money. If Austin Jackson does well, I mean, here's the thing. Isaiah Wynn and Ogbuye, they were starters, so they can be a starter. They can be a serviceable starter. So now you don't have to worry about people being undrafted and you don't know how they're going to perform and all this other stuff. They have been, Ogbuye is like 31. He's been in the league for a while. He's been a starter for a while. So he has the starting experience. You don't have to worry if someone goes down, because now we have players that can step in and fill these roles, where I think as last year, they didn't have the players that could fill the roles that we needed in order to keep our offensive line intact. So like I said, I think this offensive line has gotten better than last year. I think they have made significant improvements with the type of players that they have gotten. Last year we got Connor Williams and Teron Armstead. So you made significant improvements in the line, but we needed to focus on other areas. Now, when you get Isaiah Wynn and Ogbuye, now you have two more players that you added to the offensive line that have starting experience that can be, maneuvered to be starters in this league. So now you are really successfully piecing together your offensive line so Austin Jackson can now compete, and if he doesn't do well, then you put Isaiah Wynn in or Ogbuye, and you have a serviceable starter in. So the line increases, and then of course with Liam Eichenberg, if he doesn't perform right, then you have someone there that can go in and be a starter. So my honest opinion, our offensive line has been solved, and I still think that we are looking for other people. It looks like they are not done yet. They are still going to add players. I think after this June 1st, we'll see what happens. We'll see who gets released, who this and that. But I think when we get that cap increase, we might go for another one. Just one more. I don't think we're going to load up on 40 million offensive linemen, but I do think that we haven't made our offensive line much better than we did last year, and I think it's significantly increased in its ability to block for Tua. So I'm liking what they did this year, and I really think it's going to be, a pretty good year for the offensive line. But we'll see what happens in the future. Like I said, this was just a quick video to kind of talk about the offensive line, what they're doing with the offensive line. So we'll see what happens. But as always, hope you have a great rest of your day. Fins up. Peace.